The heart of 20th century, a movement emerged not from scripture, not from divine command, but from politics, power, and ambition. It called itself a return, a liberation, a promise fulfilled. But to millions, it was beginning of dispossession, exile, and silence. An ideology born in Europe, rooted in colonial logic, and written in language of nationalism. To understand the whole world today, we must go back to where it all began. Zionism, a modern political movement advocating for the establishment of Jewish homeland, emerged in late 19th century against a backdrop of rising European nationalism and persistent anti-Semitism. Today's video outlines the origin of Zionism, its foundation, ideologies, key figures, and socio-political developments that shaped its path, culminating in the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. Zionism is one of the most controversial political ideologies of 20th century. Born from a complex intersection of nationalism, religion, and diaspora politics, it has played a pivotal role in shaping Middle Eastern geopolitics. At its core, Zionism sought to provide Jews with sovereign homeland, primarily in historic Palestine. However, its execution and implications have triggered intense debate and enduring conflicts. For centuries, Jews lived dispersed across Europe, North Africa, and Middle East. Though the longing for the return to Zion was a religious theme since the Babylonic exile, the modern political movement known as Zionism didn't emerge until late 19th century. Its birth coincides with a broader wave of nationalist movement across Europe. Pogroms in Eastern Europe, particularly Russia and Poland, and systematic exclusion in Western Europe made many Jews feel alienated and unsafe. Enlightenment ideals had promised integration, but Jews continued to face exclusion from political and social life. Theodor Herzl is considered as father of modern Zionism, an Austro-Hungarian journalist. He was deeply affected by the diffuse affairs which took place in France, which showed him that Jewish assimilation had limits. In his book Der Judenstaat, written in 1896, he argued that the solution to Jewish question was establishment of the state of for Jews. In Basel, Switzerland, this congress marked the formal launch of the Zionist movement. At Basel, Herzl stated, "I founded the Jewish state." Political Zionism, led by Herzl, advocated for diplomatic efforts to secure a state for Jews. Labor Zionism emphasized socialist principles and building a Jewish society through labor. Example of it is David Ben-Gurion. Religious Zionism merged traditional Jewish messianism with political goal of statehood. Revisionist Zionism, more militant and nationalist, led by Zev Jabotinsky and later influenced the Likud party. World War I, British foreign policy played a crucial role in 1917. The Balfour Declaration was issued by Britain, stating, "His Majesty's government views with favor the establishment in Palestine of national home for the Jewish people." This declaration contradicted prior British promises made to Arabs through the Hussein McMahon correspondence and laid the groundwork for future conflicts. From 1882 to 1948, waves of Jewish immigrations into Ottoman and later British controlled Palestine increased. Tensions with the local population grew due to land purchase and eviction, economic disparities, political exclusion of Arabs from the Zionist institutions. By the 1930s, British authorities attempted to limit Jewish migrants due to Arab opposition, particularly after Arab Revolt, which took place in 1936 to 1939. Holocaust, in which 6 million Jews were exterminated by Nazi Germany, intensified international support for the Jewish homeland. Zionist leaders leveraged this to gain sympathy and political movement. In 1947, the UN proposed a partition plan dividing Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states. On May 14, 1948, David Ben Gurion declared State of Israel. This sparked the first Arab-Israel war, displacing over 7 lakh Palestinians, a catastrophe we call Nakaba. The core ideology of Zionism. Jews are a nation, not just a religion. Jews are a race, not a community of belief. They are separate race from European nations, so it is impossible to live together. Palestine is the historic homeland for Jewish people. Behind the official narrative of national self-determination lies an ideology of exclusion, displacement, and control. Zionism claimed to offer a homeland for a persecuted people, but it built that homes by denying the humanity to others. The idea of Jewish state inheriting mean privileges to one ethnicity, one religion, and one identity. Over centuries old communities already living there. The result institutionalized inequality, second class citizen, and policies that world called apartheid. Propaganda in the early 20th century painted Palestine as a land without people for a people without land. But this was a lie. Palestine was full of life, Arab Muslims, Christians, and Jews living in complex coexistence. The myth was a tool to justify seizure, dispossession, and the forced rewriting of history. After the Holocaust, Zionism used Jewish suffering as an untouchable shield. Any criticism of the Israeli state was labeled anti-Semitism, silencing and shutting down international outrage. The trauma of one genocide was manipulated to justify an ongoing occupation, one injustice used to execute another. Its inception, Zionist strategy has involved fragmenting the Middle East, fostering internal divisions, and maintaining instability. Maintaining instability to ensure Israel's regional dominance, from supporting civil wars to backing dictatorships. Wherever unity rose in the Arab or Muslim world, Zionism and its allies worked to crush it. From the Nakaba in 1948 to the illegal settlements today, Zionism has consistently pushed beyond the borders, not for security but for control, land, and resources. Even peace talks have often served as a cover for expansion, with settlements going while negotiations stalled. Zionist lobbies have infiltrated media, politics, and academia across the globe. Israel has become a world leader in surveillance tech export tools used by dictatorship to spy on and suppress dissents. Through lobbying groups, smear campaigns, and social media manipulation, any narrative exposing these truths is swiftly labeled radical or terrorist. Zionism is not just a political theft, it is a spiritual hijack. Spiritual hijack of Jerusalem, sacred to billions, is being claimed by one ideology as exclusive property. The land of prophets is being militarized and fenced, where spirituality is fleeced by checkpoints, walls, and weapons. Scholars and intellectuals have historically viewed Zionism not merely as political movement, but as a threat to both the sovereignty of Muslim world and the unity of Ummah. Zionism is interpreted in the Islamic world through the lenses of first, colonialism. The belief that Zionism is a Western-backed colonial project imposed on the heart of the Muslim world. Oppression. The displacement of Palestinians and continued occupation are seen as ongoing injustice. Violation of Islamic sanctities. Al Quds holds an immense spiritual value in Islam. Its occupation is not seen not just politically but as a desecration of Islamic heritage. Is not synonymous with Judaism. He emphasizes a distinction between devout Jews who follow divine commandments and secular Zionist leaders who pursue political dominance. Yahya argues that it is rooted in atheistic Darwinism, nationalism, and imperialism, ideologies that rebel against the divine moral order. He suggests Zionist ideology, along with Freemasonry and other secret society, aims to control global politics, aims to control global societies and cultures, leading humanity away from faith, unity, and peace. Jerusalem is a trust of all Abrahamic faiths. Harun Yahya repeatedly calls for peace and the return of Jerusalem as a shared holy site, not a tool for political hegemony. He also believes that the current state of global chaos, including the rise of Zionist aggression, aligns with the end time trials, fitna, prophesied in Islamic philosophy. He advocates for peaceful resistance through education, intellectual revival, and moral reforms, rather than warfare or extremism. In his view, true victory over Zionism operation lies not in bullets but in books and belief. It's not the end of story. It never was. The soil still carries the names of those who walked barefoot long before the barbed virus came. A people made refugee in their own homes, a holy land turned it into fortress, an ideology that demands loyalty to occupation or silence. But history doesn't forget, it watches, and truth, even buried beneath rubble, still breathes. To stand with justice is not anti-Semitism. To speak against oppression is not hate. Zionism may have carved borders into land, but not into conscience.